What's good people, this is your program tutor and today I'm going to show you how to build this calculator in front of you using some lines of code in Python. Yes, you can see this beautiful looking calculator in front of you that can perform some simple calculations in quick time. Also we can check some of the errors which happen in our calculation or wrong typing in a traditional calculator. You will see now. For example, if I multiply like this way, so it shows syntax error, and dividing anything with 0 will show us undefined. So let's get going. So in order to get started with our project, at first we have to create a new file. A Python file or .py extension. Here you can see I'm going to be creating a file like so, and after that I'm going to be depositing it to my new folder. Here you can see, and from here you can see the file. And now after that I'm going to be opening VS Code. I'm going to be using VS Code for my coding. You can even use whatever coding, the text editor you are using. Here I'm going to be just applying here and changing it to calc.py, the name, and I've opened the folder here. Here you can see, and just click off or get rid of those messages. Those are really unnecessary, not needed for now, and just don't get too much on that. Now let's start with writing from Tkinter. Tkinter, we should write import start. That means it should import everything from this Tkinter. After that I have created instantiate the tk class, and after that I have used the root.main loop to run the program, and root.resizable is used to just show us that if our window which we made is resizable or not. Next I have creating a button here, just a simple button, and I'm going to be customizing it. But at first I'm going to be giving the name of the object or window object, which is the root. So I have given here root, and I'm going to be setting its width. I have given it 10, and the text variable for taking the values, whatever values we are going to be giving on this entry widget. So it doesn't matter actually. At first I want to say this value is equal to double var. That means our value should be parsed or taken as double var. There are also many other ways like int var or string var, but you can also use int var here. The text variable I'm going to be setting up there on the text variable, attribute. And after that I'm going to be using entry dot. For now I'm using pack, but later I will show you how I will change it also. You can see the widget, it looks like very small and like that. Now when we will add more and more, it should change. And now what I was saying was that we are going to be giving a background to our entry widget so that it looks a bit black actually, and we are going to be giving color. For now I'm going to be giving light green. Next I will change this color to a more good looking one. Let's check it out. Here you can see the color, and it's on the left side, the numbers on the left side. And I'm going to be giving a font. Here I'm going to be using Bardana. You can use whatever font you want. You can also search them in the Google. There are many good fonts, and I'm going to be giving the size, and this should be in a bracket for our easiness. And if you want after 15, you can give if the font should be bold, italic, or so on, whatever you need to your advantage. Here you can see it looks pretty good than before. You can write anything here. So let's cut and move forward. So whatever I was talking about resizable, which says actually can we resize it to our full width or full size of the window or not. And here in justify I'm going to be keeping the number displayed towards the center, so that the number looks at the center. We'll just see in a time. Here you can see the numbers at the center. That's what I was telling you. And if you want write anything here, and if you click, you can see the numbers on the right side. Whatever you want you can provide here. So now I'm going to be giving a background color. Yes, I'm writing it in a peculiar way, but it's all right actually. It works. You can write in this way also, that doesn't matter. But you are not going to be seeing the background color because we haven't give many widgets as possible. We are going to be changing it. Now here I'm going to be changing the font so that it looks much more bigger and more defined. And let's create some button, but before that I'm going to be creating a frame in which all the buttons should be packed, arranged. around that frame, and I'm going to be giving a background color to that frame. Here you can see given a color. After that we have to we have an okay, let's I have forgotten something, let's check it. Here in the top I'm going to be giving a padding to say to see how much space we can give. Here you can see we have given space, and the background color has been more uplifted or more seen, more easily visible. That line on the 7th line we have given the background color or bg root bg on the 7th line, and here I'm going to change the color to a suitable color value. Here you can see whatever you can get fonts, just writing here in the Google, there are many good fonts. And if you write here color picker, pick here, and here you can see different types of colors. You can just change it, adjust the colors, and you can get the hex code, the HSB or the other RGB values. And I actually prefer the hex code, that's much more better. So I have given here the hex code on the color, and in frame 1, which I forgot, I'm going to be giving a pack so that it packs our widget and it shows on the screen, I mean our GUI or graphical user interface screen. Here you can see, so we have an added button, so we will start. But before that I want to say we are going to be making a loop for a button, because we are going to be using our programming logic here. Instead of hard coding is 17 to 18 lines for button. If we write a loop for this one, it makes our work really easy and fast forward and saves much time. Here you can see I have given two loops, one for the row and one for the column. And in this the next part, for every, and I'm going to be giving a button just one time. I'm going to be writing this code for button, and I'm going to be giving grid is used to just size our windows. I will show you. So here I have written the code, and this temp which I initialize first, this should help us give the numbers to our button. Or you can write any variable. You can see all the 9 buttons have been created just with two lines of loop. That's really simple, that's really crazy and really easy actually. And I'm actually have unfortunately interchanged the rows and column values that I have corrected here. And in the top I have used grid, which I will show you. I will show, no problem, how this grid and the column and row works. It actually helps to give us more accuracy in our works here. And I've given pad in the y-axis so that there's a difference or space between the entry and our buttons, and it will look really beautiful, really great. But not till now, because we have to do more work inside it. Here you can see the buttons, and there are colors. When I just click on the button, there is some color. That's due to the active background which I have given in this button. You can see in the right side active background is magenta, and you can change the font. Well, let's go for the other stuff. And now let's actually code for the other buttons, because we need addition button, subtraction button, division, multiplication, and also the equal button, and most importantly the clear button, by which on clicking actually disappears all the written things on our entry widget. So for that I'm going to be creating a button for this clearing function, and should be on our frame 1. Now you can see the root window has been changed to frame 1 because we have created a frame previously. And here you can see I'm given a text. The text should be visible on the button, and here we have given a bracket on which we are going to be writing this font and the font size and how it should be. It should be bold or italic. That's what I have written here, and this should be in this sequence. The font and the font size and this how should be the font. And then I've given a background color, the background color here, and this active background I'm just copying and pasting in this button, C button also. So after that I'm going to be giving the grid here, just setting the columns and rows here. I've given a value. Here you can see the C button is on this middle, but I want it on the top. Let's change a value. I mean, change the row to 0 so that it goes on the top. Here you can see it has went on the top in this way, and is on the fourth column. I mean the fourth one. And in the same way, I'm going to be creating the other buttons. I mean the plus, minus, and all other buttons. Let's go for it. And here, let's give it sign 1, which is for our addition. Here you can see, but it has been mixed up. We need to change the value. We need to change the value to, okay, row 1 we have changed it to 0 to 1 here, and after that again copying, then again changing the row value so that it's aligned properly, and changing this both sides, sign2 and sign2.grid. Okay, the button has been changed, and again copying, pasting, then again sign3, then at text just give it an equal sign. This should be equal button. Okay, so we need to change again. Here you can see on the side which we need, row 3 column 4. That actually shows you the idea of this grid thing. Next I'm going to giving for the fourth one, and again just changing up 4. So here just more where I wanted it. After that here in 5, I've just changed the button of the division. It has not been aligned to the correct position, but we need to change the equal sign also. Okay, now it's looking fine. So that's the beauty of this grid, that actually helps us to keep the buttons on their correct position. I mean more accuracy here, but in pack there is not so much of this advantage, so we have changed it to grid. Here you can see the buttons are being aligned, and we will also show you how to change the size of this button so that it looks much more beautiful. And here I'm creating button for 0, I mean number 0. Here I am changing the values. Okay, and changing this button to button 0. I mean in both sides, up and in dot grid, we need to keep the name same so that it works. Now let's check. Okay, and the buttons, let's change the grid again. For that we will see where this 0 button has been headed. Okay, let's change this column value. Oh, it's just a bit error here. We need to again redo it. 2, yes, 2 will be great, correct one. Here you can see it's looking great till now, but some of the buttons are really small because they are on the default size. So we need to change the button. I mean, if not, we can also create some space to all the buttons rather than writing 100 line, I mean many lines of code. So write this loop here for child in w info dot underscore children. I mean we need to give the frame name also. Let's try it out. And here you can see just write frame1 dot w info, and this should, I mean whatever the elements they are on that frame1, I mean that frame or the child frame or the frame inside the root. And here every button, this child or grid configure whatever you want. If you want space, like I want some space on the x and both x and y axis both, so I'm giving this one 5, like this way, because I want space now. Whatever configure you want. And here you can see all buttons, every button there is a bit of space here on the buttons, and you can see some of the buttons are really small. We are going to be working in it. If you feel this video a bit longer, which actually is looking like that, you can also keep the speed high in 1.25 or 1.5x. That will be much more better to understand this video, because I'm taking you through the whole process, and the process is really slow actually. So let's change the size of the buttons. I mean the division button, which was really small, so we are going to be using width. Width is another attribute, and here I have using int 2.5, so that it looks here. You can see the division button has been much more bigger. Well, you can write just a value because normally this width actually don't accept those floating values. It doesn't work with so I have used this int, I mean function, whatever you say, function or method. So 2.5 or 2.25 both are actually same. There's not much of a difference. And here in the negative button, minus button, let's change the size. Here let's, okay, same size I'm going to be giving here. And okay, and okay, make sure you have given the comma or else you will run out to an error, a terrible error. Here you can see the negative button has been bigger. And let's remove this extra comma and give a comma there after with. In this our multiplication button, let's run it. Here you can see the buttons much more bigger, and the total frame is looking really good here. And after that, so and now here I'm going to be creating some function for the button. Here you are going to be seeing. So at first, to write function, at first we need to use this def keyword for defining function def. I'm going to be giving a comment also here. That's our important function, or creating a function here. Whatever you write, you want to write, you can here. And on the top we have instantiated the tk class to new an object or window object. And here let's write some code. So at first we need to store our value, that value, I mean the value which we got from the double bar. Here you remember this 20th line, this one. We want to take this value and do the calculations, and for that we are going to be using this function. So here we have given entry because the name of the value, I mean the variable, was entry. Then dot get can help us to get that variable, snatch that variable. Now I'm creating a new variable to store this value and get an answer from it. This eval actually evaluates our expression, whatever you give. If you give 5 plus 6, it will show 11. If you give 5 multiply 6, it will give us 30. The same way, it's very easy our way to go in this project, small project. And after that, here in entry dot delete, we are going to be deleting all the things which we have added, like the plus, minus. And for this we need two terms, the first 0 is the first index, and we need this end keyword which will help us to get to the end of the word and delete all of them. Now after removing all of those letters, then we need to insert our answer. For that we need to use the first index, first, I mean 0, and then write answer, so that up to the answer all the values are inserted, answer values are inserted. It will be much more better if you see it practically. I will show you, no problem, just stick with me here. But before that I need to fetch the button. For that I need to create a, I mean argument, which is event, and event.widget can help us to get this button and save it to this b variable. So our button has been saved here in the b variable. And now I'm going to be creating another variable for the text. What text we have got here, I mean from that value, if we give here b then third bracket text, it helps us to get that value, or the varieties what we have written. Now I'm giving some indentations. If you know what I'm going to do, I'm going to be creating a loop here. For this loop we will check if we have pressed that equal button. If we press that equal button, it should be saved on this text variable, and we will check for it. I mean this loop if else statement will check for it, and then do this following stuff. It should take the value, then evaluate and get us the answer, so that we can insert it to the entry widget again. And we are going to be giving a try catch block. It's a try catch block which will help us to get, I mean the values, the things, and it will help us to actually prevent those bursty messages of crashing program. And we are going to be using this except at first for the syntax error. Whenever we are going to be giving a bad syntax, that actually makes our program crash. But this time when we are using a try catch block, it actually helps us to give a proper message, a more accurate message of the error. So here I'm creating a variable which should store this string, which is syntax error, this text, whatever you say, string text, I prefer calling it string. And then entry.delete means we are going to be deleting all the things which we have entered in this case. I mean whatever value, 3 plus 5 or something, 3 multiply nothing, like that. We're deleting all the things, and we are going to be inserting, I mean the message also, I mean so I have inserted the message and creating another except block, try except block for zero division error. For, I mean if we divide any number with 0, we know it's undefined. So for that we need to give a better error message or accurate error message. So for that I'm creating a same variable as before and giving this string undefined, so that this message pops up in this entry widget. And here we are doing the same thing actually like the previous, except syntax error statement part, this end part also. Here let's click in dot insert, same thing, the same thing going on. Okay, the zero error message, let's try it out. Now we need to give a return also, a return to, I mean to return the result if we are done with it. We need to give it because if there is no further function after equal, it should not run, because after pressing equal we need the answer, whatever answer it is, and it should return the answer through this block, or else we need to just keep on this insert well, or just it will remain as it is if nothing can be done. 0 to this text, I mean the text value means whatever we have entered up to the text. You can see this time we are not using end here, not using end. And after that we are going to be creating another function for our clear button, which on press just clears everything or removes everything. So what we're going to be doing, we are just using this delete attribute on this our entry widget here. And here in this C button we have to be giving the command. This command is another attribute which actually helps us to run a function or method upon pressing that button. So we are going to be writing this button, and don't use double brackets here. Bind, we have given a statement here, the button dot bind. That means whenever we press the button 1, which means the left mouse button, I repeat, and upon pressing the button, response function which we have created earlier will run here. And let's, okay, some errors have come up, let's just change it up a little bit, sorry for the delay. So okay, here you can see the button is really the same one, no need to worry about. And the other buttons we need to do something, we are not done with this plus minus button. And you can see the numbers had been done when we press the left mouse button, I mean the button which you use in Project IGI games or shooting games to shoot, that button. And here you can see, just I have copy paste all the codes, and I'm going to be just changing those values. This will be for our plus button, minus button, multiplication, division, and equal button, all the things just changing. And these variables which I have created earlier, you can see are working, but there's a catch, the numbers are coming on the front, which we don't want, because whenever we write any number or bigger number, we actually write a number and then on the right side, on the ending side, we add things or stuff, but it's adding on the front. This should change, so let's change this one. So let's go for the change, let's go, okay, on the top here you can see, here I'm going to be changing some of the values. So just here you can see changing this first index to end, I mean the last value, so that it adds up on the last what we want actually. So whenever we want to write 36, it should show us 36 in that way, from last to the first, like that way. Here you can see whatever value we are writing, and it's adding on the last side, I mean on the at the end. So it's pretty much working now. And so that's much. Here you can see. So if you like my video, if you learn something new here, so don't forget to give a smash on that like, share and subscribe button, and share with all of your friends such interesting stuff. And I'm going to be posting such videos for every day for a living. So your comments are also very crucial for me, so don't forget to comment also. Thank you so much.